What happened this weekend? What lies ahead? Analysis and insight from the inside. This is Big Orange. Rewind.
Presented by Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee. Calhoun's is the perfect place to rewind after every Tennessee game.
This is Big Orange Rewind. With the voice of the Vols, Mike Keith, and VolQuest.com's Brent Hubbs.
We're so glad to have you with us. Big Orange Rewind presented by Calhoun's with Brent Hubbs. I'm Mike Keith. And as we do the Rackley Roofing recap, this could go on a while because there is so much happening with University of Tennessee athletics. The Rackley Roofing recap is a breakdown of Tennessee athletics from the past week presented by Rackley Roofing, transforming the roofing industry with unmatched customer service, detailed documentation, and the highest safety standards. Rackley Roofing, the proud official roofer of the Tennessee Volunteers. All right, baseball loses its first non-conference series in 6 years, falling to Kent State in the rubber match on Sunday, 9-5 the final. Brent Hubbs, I think it comes down to too many walks, too many hit batsmen, an ill-timed wild pitch, and a couple of big errors. Overall, just didn't play good enough to beat a good team for the second time in 3 games.
Yeah, and it was the Saturday game where they left just too many guys on base. I mean, they had every opportunity in the Saturday game, and it didn't. They couldn't get the timely hit. They couldn't get to have that big inning, and you wondered how they would bounce back today. And they were in a ball game from the get-go today. They had a 2-1 lead going into the fourth, and then the game got away from them. And they got away from them because of the things that you're talking about. I mean, Tennessee had 7 hits. Kent State had 7 hits. Tennessee had 2 errors. Tennessee walked, too many batters today. And the result of where Tennessee was they didn't get it done. And it's okay. Everybody take a deep breath. I know it's been a long time since they have dropped a series like that in a non-conference deal, but it'll be okay. They've got to learn from it. They will learn from it. It is a marathon, not a sprint. You want to play better baseball than what you played this weekend. You want to play a cleaner brand of baseball than what you played this weekend. And, now your leadership comes to the forefront. You go to Houston, Texas coming up this weekend, play a lot different competition. And you got to get your bats going, and you got to get hitting. And they pitched it pretty well up till today. I mean, they pitched well enough to win yesterday. They just didn't get hits, and then
until Blanco lost the strike zone. I mean, he had thrown really well, and then unfortunately just sort of lost the strike zone.
Yeah, he did today, and he had 8 strikeouts and 4 walks. They ended up walking 7 batters today, and as you mentioned, they hit 4 batters today. They got to have better command, but they pitched Friday and Saturday pretty well. Just didn't make enough plays, and they've got to find their groove at the batter's box. Got to hit the baseball better.
Well, and Kent State has a nice team.
They do.
You can tell by how they're well coached, how they play. If you don't play good baseball against a good team, and I don't know, I mean, we'll see if they're a great team, but they're clearly a good team. If you don't play good baseball against a good team, you can lose, and that's exactly what happened. Tennessee is 5-2 now on the season, after losing 2-1, and then on Sunday 9-5 to Kent State. Lady Vols go to Oklahoma, play a very competitive game, back and forth. Oklahoma wins 100-93. Your thoughts on that one?
Got to play better defense. 93 points ought to be enough points to win. Defense always travels, and I know defense is not appealing or sexy, and everybody wants, high flying and a bunch of points. But you look at this run that the Lady Vols have been on. Oklahoma scores 100 points. They shoot 46% from the floor. A&M in a loss scored 82 points. They shot 56%. Ole Miss shot 51%, scored 94 points. You only gave up 65 to Texas, gave yourself a chance to win. You only gave up 53 to Missouri. Then you had a debacle at South Carolina. They gave up 70% from the field, 93 points. They've just not defended well enough, particularly in the half court, They shot the ball well today. I mean, you're sitting there, you look at them at the half. They shot 54% in the first half. They made 5 threes, I think, in the first half, and they were down 1.
Well, I mean, Oklahoma with the free throws.
Yes. And
36 of 46 at the line. Oklahoma got to shoot 46 free throws.
Well, Tennessee had 7 fouls in the first quarter before Oklahoma committed their first foul. And Tennessee's got to, they've got to defend without fouling. And they fouled too much all year long, really. And today it was a huge deal. It was a huge problem, fouling. But again, you just can't give up 90 and 100 and expect to win games. You're just not going to shoot the ball well enough and score well enough to win a bunch of 98, 92 games. It's just not college. That's just not college basketball. So they've got to buckle down, defend better in the half court, limit opportunities. They gave up 22 offensive rebounds today. They gave up 4 of them off of free throw blockouts. They've just got to do some fundamental little things better. They shot the ball offensively. Shot selection was much better today, particularly in the first half, I thought. They felt like they had to score every time they had the basketball because you just didn't think they could get many stops, and they didn't get nearly enough stops today.
Talasia Cooper, 22. Jada Civil, 21 points and 10 rebounds. Nia Robertson, 18 points for the Lady Vols, who again fall 100-93 at Oklahoma. The number 1 softball team in the land, the Lady Vols, win again, 9-0 over Southern Illinois. They just keep rolling. I don't know that they will again be the unanimous number 1 in America because they did not play quite the competition they did last weekend, and maybe someone else did, and a voter will change his or her mind and flip it one way or the other, but they certainly did not do anything to hurt their ranking. This is a machine to start the season, and not really a surprise. I mean, there were high expectations for this club, and right out of the gate, they have done it big, particularly in the circle with their overall pitching.
Yeah, and all of the talk, and rightfully so. I mean, Carlin Pickens is fantastic. She's been fantastic for forever. But right now, and it's February, okay? And any softball player that you talk to will tell you it's February. Everybody relax.
Like baseball.
It's just February. Whether it's good or bad, it's just February. But for them to throw 3 different pitchers regularly through the first 10 games of this season or whatever.
And then 2 more out of the bullpen.
To throw that many arms this successfully, that it's the equivalent of somebody, if you want to put it in football terms, it's the equivalent of being 3 or 4 deep at the quarterback position. That you're like, okay, we can win with that person, and that person. Like, you don't see that in softball. There's so many teams in softball that you get to June and that pitcher is thrown, 487 innings. Like, she's everything they've got. I mean, it's to do what they're being able to do right now, and the depth they continue to build in the circle with the pitching is just crazy. I mean, you just don't see it.
It's like Newer. Last year, very up and down, but she pitched in 15 games and started 10, and then had a good summer, comes back 6-0 already. And obviously Marjetko's coming back from the injury, and you're hopeful that she can really get something going, and she does. And then, oh, by the way, you're not having to throw Carlin Pickens every single day because a big part of it is you're not even in close games right now against good teams.
Well, Pickens has thrown 31 innings to this point. Newer's thrown 24. Sage has thrown 21.
Yeah.
I mean, to have that kind of balance,
well, I mean,
it's crazy.
Yeah, they're not even
softball.
talking about Marjetko yet, and she's been terrific.
Yeah, I mean, those 3 starters, the ERA is 0.00 for Newer.
So that's good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pickens is at .22.
What a disappointment.
And Sage is really struggling at .66.
Well, we're going to have a conversation. 0.66.
I mean,
that's crazy.
I mean, Newer has given up 3 hits.
Yeah.
3 hits in 24 innings of softball. 30 strikeouts to 8 walks. And all Sage done is she's got 39 strikeouts and 6 walks. Like, it's crazy what they've done so far right now. I mean, again, you mentioned expectations were going to be there. thought they might be able to hit it a little bit. Maybe they were not going to be as much power. Maybe they would play it a little differently. They can play all different ways.
They do. I mean, Karen Weekly told me in the fall, she said, we have a slapper.
Yeah.
We have a legitimate slapper on our team, which a lot of softball teams had gone away from, almost toward the baseball trend of, hey, we're not choking up with 2 strikes anymore. We're taking a rip.
And we're not going to bunt somebody to second. We're playing big inning ball.
But now they have the versatility. What's really wild that's going on with Tennessee's baseball team, swinging back to that for a second, pardon the pun, Tennessee is not hitting on 2-0 counts or 3-1 counts. And guess what? There are all kinds of teams around college baseball that aren't hitting 2-0 counts or 3-1 counts, and there are all these theories as to why. So you're in these counts where you're in the driver's seat and you should be sitting dead red on something ready to go, and people are not getting hits. They're not hitting the they're swinging and missing. I mean, the contact ratio is low in those counts, which is crazy. But that's a real problem for Tennessee right now.
It is, and they've got to get that going.
But also, that doesn't last forever, does it? When you have these kind of hitters,
no. And here's the thing too, and I'm not making I am making an excuse, but I don't mean to be making an excuse for them. I mean, they probably missed 8 to 12 scrimmage opportunities.
They did
because of weather, and it happens. Listen, everybody's had weather. Okay,
right.
It's not the only place. But that kind of messes you up a little bit. You don't see some of the live pitching that you did. When the weather turns, it starts to get a little warmer. Ball's going to travel a little further. Things are going to get a little. Typically, it comes around that way. That's why I'm saying don't panic.
Well, and the other part of it too is you're still experimenting with a lineup. Mm-hmm. You've got to.
Sure, you better.
I mean, listen, I would much rather experiment with the lineup against Kent State. Experiment with my batting order against Kent State than LSU.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not, I mean, you have to do it
right
now. And is there some change in head coach? Yes.
Sure.
This guy's new.
Right.
I know he's been here. But there were times Tony had frustrating moments, and he would tell you the same thing. But it's like what happened in the first half of the basketball game at Vanderbilt. Tennessee took Jacoby Gillespie out, and everything kind of went down the tubes for a couple minutes. But if you hadn't gotten him that rest, where would you have been at the end of the game?
Sure. I mean, and listen, you have to.
That's all sports.
Well, that's exactly to your point. Is you've got to play, and you've got to try to figure out, particularly in a sport where you're not just playing a handful of games, and one Saturday could mean the end of everything. Again, you're going to play 60 of these baseball games. It's okay. You're going to lose some. You're going to drop a midweek game or two along the way to somebody.
Remember 3 years ago in the conference when they were 5-10 halfway through?
Yeah, you'll figure it out. Everybody will figure it out. It's okay. But back to softball, they can experiment with everything.
Oh yeah,
because they don't have to worry. Like you got a 2-0 lead, you're like we're home free because the way they're pitching it right now.
Well, and the pitchers were returning.
Yes, you're not breaking anybody new. Everybody's got experience. So here you go. You have a veteran staff.
That's right.
And most softball programs don't have staffs, not like this kind of staff. That's what gives this Lady Ball team, you think, even though it's early, that's what you think is going to give them such a real chance to make a deep run this year.
Yes. Want to mention swimming, SEC championships. Men finished third. Women finished second. Texas, the champion overall. On the women's side, something to point out, they beat Florida, which is a big deal if you're Tennessee.
It is.
Especially in swimming. So a great weekend for the men, the women, swimmers, divers, relay teams. A lot of success in the pool here in Knoxville at the SEC championships. And then to basketball. And the week that was an 89-66 victory over Oklahoma, and then a trip to Vanderbilt. Tennessee wins 69-65. Give me your best shot on that before we have to go to break. What's your number one thought process about Tennessee beating Vanderbilt at Memorial Gymnasium?
I think it's just the way they finished. I think it's what you did in the last 4 minutes of the basketball game. because this is the time of the year where the last 4 minutes are the 4 minutes that count. Because you're going to be in some of those, just the season's on the line. We're in a one-possession game. How do you finish? Tennessee found themselves in that kind of game at Vanderbilt, and they went and finished in a hostile environment. They made every play that they needed to make down the stretch offensively. They got defensive stops. They also did not give up any offensive rebounds down the stretch to give second chance, easy putback, or a crazy wide-open three based off an offensive rebound, which is a lot of times where a three comes from. Just love the way that they finished. I think that was my biggest takeaway from this team.
We'll get your questions at 865-657-1278. That is the Ball Network text line, 865-657-1278. We have some questions. We want more questions. We hope you will chime in. Brent Hubbs is here to answer all of them.
So is Mike Keith.
As we rack up the Rackley Roofing recap.
Rack it up.
Maybe we
Wrap it up.
wrap up, maybe is a better way to say that.
Rack.
Whatever. We love Rackley Roofing.
We do love them. They're fantastic people.
I've known them for a long time. They are the official roofer of the Tennessee Volunteers and proud to be so. When we come back, we hit text line questions about whatever sport you'd like to discuss. Oh, yeah, Joey Aguilar talk, quarterback talk. That is on the way. We are 3 weeks away from spring practice. Let's go, everybody. Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's.
Big Orange Rewind.
Sponsored by First Horizon. Big bank muscle, small bank hustle. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee. Complete coverage for every phase of life.
By the natural gas utilities and pipeline companies in Tennessee.
Natural gas.
Pilot, the official travel stop of the Vols. See you out here. RJV Kubota, with 2 convenient locations in Knoxville and Nashville. And by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of the Tennessee Volunteers.
UT fans know it takes teamwork to win. And when you choose Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, you get a team who's served Tennesseans for 80 years. From babies to seniors, big needs to small, we offer health coverage that fits your life and your budget. All from a company right here in your community. Now that's what we call a big win. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee.
It's football time in Tennessee, and that means it's time for Calhoun's. Whether you're headed to the game or watching from home, make Calhoun's your pregame, postgame, and every game headquarters. From hickory smoked pulled pork to the legendary ribs, juicy burgers, and mouthwatering brisket, Calhoun's delivers the flavor that fuels Big Orange fans. With 9 convenient East Tennessee locations, there's a Calhoun's near you. So gather your friends, wear your orange, and experience why they're the taste of Tennessee. Calhoun's, proud to serve ball fans since 1983.
In this town, we don't just root for the team. We are the team. We rise before the sun, stay long after the lights go out. We are Big Orange Country. And with this team stands another, UT Medical. We heal the hurt, fuel the comeback, keep Vol Nation stronger, tougher, together, with care that never lets up. UT Medical, official healthcare provider of the Vols and all of Vol Nation.
Hey, Vol Nation, it's Coach Barnes, here to remind you why Pilot is the official travel partner of Tennessee Athletics. Every season is a journey, building on what's in the rear view while keeping your eyes on the road ahead. The folks at Pilot know all about that. They're out here to help you make the most of every mile. Just like things were always better in that Tennessee orange, every journey's better with a stop at Pilot. See you out here.
Mike, Brent, and you. Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's.
Text line questions. The Ball Network text line is 865-657-1278. Our friend Kevin in Columbia, love to hear from him, says if it wasn't for the 2 Kentucky losses, Tennessee would be talked about as one of the hottest teams in the country. That's absolutely true. The last 2 games Tennessee has lost were both to Kentucky. Otherwise, they've won 8 games in a row. He says, what realistic seed can Tennessee achieve? Talking about the NCAA tournament, obviously.
I mean, I think we talked about this a little bit last week. I think a 4 seed. I think a lot of people have them projected as a 5 right now, but I think they're trending towards a 4 after the win on Saturday. I don't think you have to do anything just crazy in the conference tournament to be a 4 seed. But you got to finish. You got to win your home games. You got Alabama left on your schedule at home. You got Vanderbilt left on your schedule at home. Be 2 quality wins. You got a Missouri game that's going to be tough on the road. I don't
got a South Carolina game. You don't need.
Yeah,
to
you can't.
lose.
You don't need to lose that one. And you don't assume anything, but that's one you should on the road. You should take care of business on that one. But I mean, this team could finish as high as second or third in the league in the overall standings when it gets done right
And
now.
you know what's really interesting too? I mean, there are 4 games left. Florida has a little bit of a slog. Now they're 2 games in front.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you would not think Florida's going to lose 3 of their final games. But if you, Tennessee, went 4-0, Florida could go 2-2. And then you get a piece. You are an SEC champion. Now, you're not going to be the number 1 seed in the tournament, but you can hang a banner. You can print a T-shirt. Everybody who finishes and they don't call them co-champions anymore. There's no asterisk next to it or anything. I mean, you're there. But yeah, I mean, could Tennessee be the number 2 seed in the SEC tournament? Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
The Alabama thing is big because Alabama is considered by most of the bracketologists as on the 4 line right now. Tennessee is considered on the 5 line. Head-to-head doesn't always matter in that. It really doesn't. And yet, if you were to beat them twice, that changes the dynamic. Alabama has won 6 straight.
mm-hmm. Quietly.
And they play Mississippi State at home Tuesday or Wednesday. So they should come in here having won 7 in a row.
Should.
Hottest team in the conference.
Yeah, I mean, right there with Tennessee. I will say this for Kevin and for a lot of people. Some people will say at the end of the year, they'll look back and say, man, if you're just taking care of the business against Kentucky, where would you be? You have a chance to win it. And I think, and that's 100% right. I think for this team's growth and development, sadly, losing those 2 games was probably good for this team because I think those moments help them take steps. I think the first one in Knoxville, I think Gillespie's improved since that game where he didn't play very well down the stretch. I think he's had a better command of things. I think Nate Ament really has continued to grow out of that. And then I think the second one just made him mad. And I think they've kind of played with the edge that you're wanting them to play with since then. We'll see if they hold it up there. But you don't want to lose. But I do think this team with this coaching staff have used those 2 games the right way to help this team continue to develop.
It's like Gillespie put up that shot from half court that had a chance at Rupp and obviously didn't go in. The next day at practice, he put up a shot from half court that went in.
Sure it did.
And I was like, oh, man.
Sure it did.
But the point is, that's where basketball is today with Missouri, for example, has a team that has more returnees than any team in the conference except one. The other 14 teams are basically totally new in most ways.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama had returnees, and they had Bediako, too, who was returnee from 2021, but that's another story. But the point being, most of these teams are having to go through things and say, yeah, we had to lose here to kind of understand because we didn't have X figured out or Y figured out or Z figured out at that point. I mean, Florida's lost 6 games. And Florida's the only SEC team in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
And they're –
and they can win it all.
Oh, sure, but they are not only no lock for a 1 seed in the tournament. I mean, I think they're a 2 seed. I mean, I think that's where they'll end up. But could they even be a high 3 potentially? And, I mean, they're really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a good basketball team, and basketball is such a crazy deal. I mean, Kentucky has that game won at Auburn, and then they have the foul, and then Auburn gets a second tip in after an offensive putback didn't go in. They get to tip in at the buzzer basically to win that one. And I'm watching Missouri and Vanderbilt play on Tuesday night or Wednesday night, whatever they play. Vanderbilt shoots a shot from half court that rattled out.
Right.
I mean, it didn't just hit the rim.
It
down. Rattled out.
It started down and then came out.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you're
with
sitting
1.8 seconds to go.
Yeah, you're sitting here, and that's the crazy part. That's the part about basketball. That's why we love it. You know, particularly if you don't have a dog in the fight. That's why you love March, because of all the chaos it can create. It also creates such pain and heartache because the flukiest things can happen in basketball.
Well, you know, the biggest thing that went right for Tennessee at Vanderbilt is they didn't let them fall behind by 21 points.
Right. Yes.
I mean, that's what they did against Oklahoma, and they nearly won.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they did against Missouri, and they nearly won. And playing that close game, I said to Chris on the air and off the air, Chris Lofton, I said, this is kind of our sort of game. This rock fight, this is kind of what – I mean, it was certainly – I liked where it was going from the standpoint of a Tennessee-type game rather than a Vanderbilt-type game. Because Vanderbilt likes to go up and down and score, and, you know, they're generally in the 80s, and especially when Tennessee was able to limit Nickel the way they were, which was – Nickel is a crazy good shooter. 45% from three last year, entering the game on Saturday, 44% from three.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. And, I mean, he's 6'7".
Yeah. You know, I thought watching it, without being in the atmosphere, but just watching it, my takeaway was I kept thinking, man, if Tennessee can just get it to the half, if you can just get to the half and be – right there, and it was 4 points. They were down 4 at the half.
It was like Alabama.
And I thought, you know what? That's a great place to be. They're not going to shoot it as there's no way they're going to shoot it the second 20 minutes the way they shot it the first 10 minutes of that basketball game. And they started cooling off in the latter part of the first half. The first 10 minutes, they made everything they put up. I mean,
crazy.
Everything.
But, you know, they did have 2 shots in the second half, 2 threes.
Oh, yeah, 2 just –
I mean, you look at the 3-point that Miles hit, and then the one that Tanner hit as the clock went off. I mean, you're like, you got to be kidding.
Right. But you just thought of at the half, if they were not within striking distance, but they were right there.
That's
possession game or 2-possession game, you thought, man, you'd like where Tennessee's at that point. And I felt like when they got to the half, I thought, okay, this is a Tennessee. You're right. This is a Tennessee-type game here heading into the second half of this basketball game, which is exactly where you wanted to be because you knew you were going to have to weather an early storm, and they did.
All right, so Jeff in Knoxville has sent a question to the Vol Network text line at 865-657-1278. What do you think about the post-game comments from Rick Barnes after the Vanderbilt game?
Which comments?
I'm sure just what he said to the team.
Oh, well, I mean, what he said to the team I thought was a coach understanding wins and understanding where his team was emotionally. That was a very high intensity, high emotional game. Clearly, the investment level from Tennessee in that game was off the charts. I mean, Tennessee they celebrated big time with that win. That win carried a lot to them. And I don't know why that was the case, but that win, for whatever reason, emotionally seemed to have a greater impact. And I thought Rick Barnes going into the locker room afterwards and quickly moving past the game. He credited his team. He did not belittle the win. He did not, we're not going to celebrate this. But he quickly started talking about on to Missouri, on to the next one, to try to get his team, I think, in that mindset. It's a quicker turnaround because you're playing on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. But I thought it was a guy who had an understanding of, hey, my team's going to celebrate anyway. We need to start reminding them it's on to the next one. We achieved a good win, but we got to go to the next one, you know?
Enter the Pigeon Forge Big Orange Vacation Sweepstakes for your chance to win a 2-night vacation for a family of 4, VIP passes to top attractions and passes to Dollywood. You'll also win 4 tickets to the rematch, Tennessee and Vanderbilt, March 7th. Tickets to Tennessee baseball and softball games this spring, and an autographed item from Big Orange head coaches Rick Barnes, Josh Elander, and Karen Weekly. Terms apply. Register at tinyurl.com/BigOrangeVacation26. Contest ends March 1st. The Pigeon Forge Big Orange Vacation Sweepstakes.
From the practice court to the free throw line, our attitude is always the same. Confidence and commitment can turn dreams into reality. Where there's a dream, there's a way. And that's First Horizon's philosophy. Big bank muscle, small bank hustle. First Horizon Bank, proudly serving Big Orange country for over 160 years. It's no wonder First Horizon is the official bank of Tennessee Athletics.
Rackley Roofing is now the official roofer of the Vols, and Rackley is more than a roofing company. They're part of the communities where they work and live, investing in neighborhoods and opening doors to a career in an industry that's growing year after year. Rackley Roofing's mission is clear: transform the roofing industry with unmatched customer service, detailed documentation, and the highest safety standards. Because Rackley believes the ladder to a great roof is only as good as the people who climb it. Rackley Roofing, building roofs, building futures.
At Sonic, the All-American Smasher is at the top of the burger food chain. Get it hand-smashed and made to order with a side and medium drink for just $6. That's not just a big deal. That's a giant, massive, gargantuan, humongousaurus rex of a honkin' big deal for just $6. A deal this big shouldn't cost this little. Get the Sonic $6 All-American Smasher meal today.
Tax not included. Exclusions apply. Limited time only at participating Sonic drive-ins. If you want to live free, yeah.
On the court, a perfect assist sets up success. That's what the Ford F-150 truck can do for you. With outstanding towing and payload numbers, F-150 delivers the power, capability, and reliability you need to make every play. It's game on in the Ford F-150. This is Mike Keith. For great offers on the best-selling full-size truck in Tennessee, see your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of the Volunteers. Go Vols!
Based on S&P Global Mobility total U.S. new vehicle registrations for the standard full-size pickup segment, retail year-to-date April 2025.
Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's, continues.
This season, enjoy and celebrate with the great refreshing beverages that support University of Tennessee athletics. Light and crisp, truly hard seltzer, Twisted Tea, real brewed iced tea with a twist of lemon, Modelo brewed for full-time Vol fans, Coors Light, choose chill, and Vol Lager from Yeehaw Brewing Company. Distributed across the Volunteer State by Cherokee Distributing. Remember, celebrate responsibly, and 21 means 21. Jeff in Knoxville clarified about Coach Barnes' post-game comments. He was interested in our take on Coach Barnes' post-game comments on officiating. I was not aware of him. Mark Byington went in on the officials, it seemed like, more than Coach Barnes did, but maybe I missed something. It's entirely possible.
I didn't hear it in the post-game press conference. He was asked about the physicality of the game. He said games are going to get more and more physical as the year goes on, and we're moving into the time of year of physicality. And he did not seem to have an issue with the physical play. Now, he had some issues during the game and was very adamant with some officials during the game, but he didn't say anything publicly afterwards. And Mark Byington just wondered if Nate Ament might have walked on the turnaround jumper, kind of the chaotic turnaround jumper he made, which was ultimately the game winner for Tennessee. But both those coaches were very complimentary of each other, and both of them called it a great game, just a great college basketball game. The officials made a decision early in that game, and to their credit, I will say this, I thought they were pretty consistent all the way through. It was physical the first 4 minutes of that basketball game, and it was physical the other 36 minutes of that game for the most part.
Unlike the Oklahoma game where you had 9 fouls in the first half and then you had 9 fouls in the first 3 minutes of the second half.
Right. And that if I'm a player or a coach, that's what bothers me a lot more. Like, set the tone on how we're going to play this thing. We'll adjust and play accordingly. Don't change how you're going to call it in the middle of the game.
Well, you don't change your strike zone in the 5th inning.
Right.
I mean, that's
so
just me.
If I missed something, tell him to shoot another text back. I may have missed something Barnes said.
We're here. So
we're going to be here for a bit.
Thanks. Yeah. David, Lake Oconee, Georgia, says, thanks for highlighting golf. Well, I mean, Tennessee golf is outstanding. Have to highlight it. One question comes to mind. Can our golfers receive NIL without jeopardizing their amateur status? They can. The rule was changed in 2022, so they are able to get NIL without jeopardizing their amateur status.
Which is great.
Right.
I'm still very confused by how you can go be an amateur like in tennis in a major and get prize money, but you can't accept the prize money.
In golf?
I don't know about golf. I know you can't in tennis.
You can't. I mean, you can in golf.
Okay, so explain that one to me.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You're supposed to know all.
But, I mean, remember, there have been athletes in the Olympics for years who accepted money. And for many years, our athletes didn't. And then they were able to do endorsements that was always strange to me. You know, that Carl Lewis was supposedly not a professional and he was doing Nikon cameras which was fine. I mean, I didn't blame him. I wasn't mad at him. I've just never known where the line was with that.
Yeah, I just think if you are a golfer or a tennis player in the college ranks and you go and play in a major tournament or a tournament somewhere on an exemption, or you get in because you've won something to give you amateur status to get in, you're still an amateur.
Right.
You finish well enough to get a little prize money. In this day and age of NIL, I mean, that's more, to me, that's better than just pay for play money. Just give them the money.
But I guess what they're saying is you can be paid for your name, image, and likeness, but if you pay for the sport per se that you play, that makes you a professional. I mean, I'm not saying I think that's right or wrong. I'm saying I guess that's the differentiating line.
Well, they're saying you're getting paid for your performance. Okay. I think it's ridiculous.
All right, so Brent thinks it's ridiculous.
I do think it's dumb.
That's good. So it's Jackson Harrington that's going to the Masters, right? Isn't he the Tennessee golfer?
I think that's right. Yes.
What if he wins it?
He shouldn't come back to school.
I mean,
he should be. I'll see you, boys.
What if he wins?
Yeah.
I mean, do you take them? I mean,
I would take the money and forfeit my college eligibility. That's what I would do. I mean, at that point, that would
say good luck at Georgia Tech this week.
I mean, it's very different doing that versus if you go and win $10,000 at a tournament.
Right.
Come on.
Well, and most of those guys, you know.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to win on a lower scale. They're not. It's not like they're sitting there deciding, well, I had to leave $1 million of prize money behind. No, you're going to take the $1 million and probably forfeit your status as a collegiate player. I'm just saying, if you went to the Australian Open and you paid your way over there and got over there and you made $10,000, you ought to get the $10,000 check. Why not?
Yeah.
In this world where everybody's getting paid anyway, and half of it we don't know how legitimate the payday actually is in terms of what they're doing for their name, image, likeness. Man, the guy went and earned $10,000 playing tennis.
You
Go get it.
Think there's some guys who are getting paid who don't have to do anything for the money?
Yes. A significant number of guys who are getting paid that aren't doing anything for the money.
Not just guys.
Correct.
People.
Sorry.
All right.
So I apologize to the good people out there.
Roger in Lewisburg. He's got two.
Okay.
Tuned in a little late, but if this hasn't been said, rest in peace, Wes Rucker, and prayers to Lauren, Hank, and their baby girl to be born this spring, and the rest of the family. And we certainly concur.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And certainly when you lay your head on your pillow tonight, just say a prayer for Lauren and Hank and the entire family for all that they're going through at this point in time. And there's a GoFundMe out there. I'd certainly.
What's it up to
It's
now?
about 700,000, I think. And I would encourage anyone who feels led to participate in it, please do so. I promise you it will go to the right reasons with Lauren and the family. And if you don't feel compelled to do that, that's fine. But if you believe in prayer, say a prayer tonight.
All right, the second part regarding Lady Ball basketball, is shot selection ever discussed in practice? Passing to an open player. I would assume Roger's not happy with probably either, but I would say yes, it is discussed.
Yeah, I mean, I thought today, particularly early in that game, their shot selection was better. Now, they had a lot of straight line drives. Oklahoma gave up some straight line drives. I do think there's been too many times this season where there have been zero pass offensive possessions or a one pass offensive possession. Maybe the ball's not reversed as much as it needs to reverse. I thought it was better today. I did not think in the A&M game in the third quarter in particular, I didn't think they had very good shot selection at all. I didn't think they were patient enough. They didn't reverse the ball, make the defense move. They were a little bit easy to defend that way. But yeah, I mean, it's talked about, and it's not been nearly as consistent as it needs to be all season long.
More of your questions on the text line. Go ahead and shoot them our way at 865-657-1278. We've got a lot more coming up on Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's.
At the University of Tennessee, the torchbearer stands tall, a symbol of leadership, light, and the volunteer spirit. Just like that torch, natural gas provides the energy that lights, warms, and powers Tennessee every single day. Reliable, clean, always ready to serve. Natural gas, keeping the torch burning bright for Tennessee.
Since 1945, Co-op has been feeding the animals of Big Orange Country. With proven rations for livestock and pets alike, our family of Co-ops takes pride in being the go-to source that feeds your rural lifestyle. We offer livestock rations both by the ton and the bag, and essential pet food for your best friends, no matter their stage in life. Find a location near you by visiting ourcoop.com and go Co-op. It's football time in Tennessee, and that means it's time for Calhoun's. Whether you're headed to the game or watching from home, make Calhoun's your pregame, postgame, and every game headquarters. From hickory smoked pulled pork to the legendary ribs, juicy burgers, and mouthwatering brisket, Calhoun's delivers the flavor that fuels Big Orange fans. With 9 convenient East Tennessee locations, there's a Calhoun's near you. So gather your friends, wear your orange, and experience why they're the taste of Tennessee. Calhoun's, proud to serve ball fans since 1983.
If you're all Vol, then you know the ultimate Tennessee shopping experience is at Alumni Hall. With 6 Tennessee locations, you can shop officially licensed apparel from top brands like Nike, Champion, Peter Millar, Comfort Colors, plus hats, gifts, accessories, and more. Load up on the best volunteer gear and get $10 in rewards for every $150 you spend. Check your rewards balance by downloading the Alumni Hall app or shop alumnihall.com for delivery to your door. Tennessee has the best fans, and the best fans shop at Alumni Hall. Go Vols!
Presented by Calhoun's. This is Big Orange Rewind.
Reminding you that Calhoun's has 9 convenient locations in Knoxville and surrounding areas. Also available inside Food City Center. And Tennessee's going to play twice more there after going to Missouri this coming Tuesday for a 9 o'clock Eastern time tip. February 28th, Saturday game with Alabama has now been set for 6 o'clock Eastern time. And so that'd be dinner time. Perfect time to get Calhoun's at Food City Center. Or go to Calhoun's on the River beforehand.
And we like a 6 o'clock start.
Yeah, especially on March 3rd at South Carolina, a 6 o'clock start Eastern time. And then March 7th, the SEC regular season finale with Vanderbilt is a 2 o'clock start Eastern time. All right, so Tanya has a question, and I'm going to get this right here. Tanya in Nashville. Love the small ball lineup and seeing our freshmen shine. Is this the lineup that could sustain us as JP Estrella deals with his foot situation?
You know, it's a lineup that against certain teams and certain matchups can go well. Can you play it extensively against big teams? You know, teams that are really big in the post. Be really hard. It would be hard to do that. But yeah, I mean, I think you can play that, and I think that's again, this is probably too much of my love affair for Rick Barnes, but I love the fact that he said after the game, yeah, we've been working on that for a couple of weeks. We just got to thinking, you know, we get in foul trouble. What are some different, you know, ways we can combat that? How can we go about it? And maybe one way we do is we go to a 4-guard lineup and with one big. And I think they played it almost 8 minutes in the second half Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
You can't play it if Ethan Berg doesn't do what he's done the last 2.5 weeks. You can't play it if Amari Evans doesn't stay engaged the way he has stayed engaged, even when he wasn't getting big minutes. The fact that those guys gave you what they gave you in that setting, I think says a lot about them, and I think it says a lot about how this staff has kept them completely involved in everything, even when they weren't getting a lot of minutes. Amari Evans' game just it fascinates me. It just fascinates me because he has zero fear of anything.
Anything.
And at two, sometimes it looks like he's like, where's he going? Like he's out of control. What is he doing? And then all of a sudden you look up and he's made a really good play. Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, okay. I mean, I am so interested, excited to see his game continue to develop in this system with this coaching staff over the course of the rest of this year and next year. I seem to like everything about his makeup and the way he goes about his business on the court. Just not afraid of the moment, not afraid of anything.
Speaking of the lineup at Missouri, remember they've got Mark Mitchell, an all-SEC player who's 6'9" and weighs like 255 or something. He's a load. They have 6'10" junior Trent Pierce, 7-foot senior Javon Phillips, and then off the bench, they bring the second tallest player in the SEC, 7'5" Trent Burns. And he really plays 7'5". I mean, he's like the tower at the airport. I mean, he's right in the middle of everything. He doesn't score a lot. He won't necessarily rebound a lot. But when you see him coming, you know, you're bringing the ball down the lane, it's pretty impressive.
Which probably makes it harder to play the smaller lineup.
I would think. I don't think Amari Evans would be afraid of him.
No.
But I think he would have to adjust everything he does because the guy's 7'5".
So, and again, maybe you can counter that. You know, what you want to have if you're a basketball coach, to answer Tanya's question, this time of year, you want to have as much diversity in your style of play as you can get. And the reason for that, in my opinion, is when you get into the month of March and you get a draw with somebody you don't know, and you look out there and you played all year with two big tall guys who maybe aren't great on the perimeter, and you get that Northern Idaho team or North Dakota, whoever, who's won some conference tournament to get in, and they come out and they've got 4 3-point shooters and one guy who just kind of stands around on the block, and they're going to shoot 35 threes. Those are the people that upset. When you don't have the ability to play various styles, that's when you get some of those upsets.
That's a great point.
And I think the fact that Rick Barnes has continued to work in trying to be as multiple or as diverse as he can be with this basketball team, he's doing it with the thought of, we just don't know what we're going to get draw-wise when we get into March. We want to be able to play all styles of basketball. We want to dictate our style, but we have to be able defensively to combat to different styles of play.
This is from Preston and Morristown. As we get to tournament time, do y'all think Amari Abram will get more playing time?
You know, that's interesting to where he's at right now. I mean, he's got to go earn it on the court, on the practice floor. Now, Coach Barnes has said repeatedly it's going to take everybody. Mm-hmm. And he's being proven right with Ethan Berg, who everybody had written off for done a month ago. So we'll see.
He's got to find a role. That's what Berg has done. Berg is okay enough offensively now, is capable enough offensively now that they feel like they can get him out there because his defense is really good. And so where does Amari fit in? Where does Amari Abram fit into that mix? What is he in this role? They haven't written him off. I mean, if they see something in practice, if they have a feeling about – because they had that feeling about Berg. You know, they tried to put Berg back in the lineup a few weeks before they actually did, and then he had a turnover and just something disastrous happened, and you know, it was back to square one for a minute, but he's worked his way back. I think it's the same way with Mo. If Amari Abram, also known as Mo, can find that role somewhere, yeah, he could really add something. But what is it? And he's got to play defense.
Well, I think the other thing that's challenging for finding a role for him a little bit is, you know, I think it's pretty clear Gillespie's okay at 35, 36 minutes a game. And I think it's pretty clear you need him to play 35, 36 minutes a game. Now, you play Boswell 23 minutes. Boswell played less than 25 minutes in both games this week.
And the game before that, the last 3 games.
Yeah, and so you're trying to give him a little bit of rest as well. So the question is, where do you find a role for Mo right now with how everybody's playing?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to watch. But, again, he's not written off. They're not saying leave the island. They would like to see him potentially be able to find a role for Tennessee basketball.
Miss any of today's Rewind? Catch the full podcast with Mike Keith and Brett Hubbs. UTSports.com. We are the Vol Network. Exclusive guest, insider analysis. You know what happened, find out why and how, and what happens next. This is Big Orange Rewind.
Presented by Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee. Grab a taste after the next Tennessee game. Calhoun's.
So glad you've joined us for Big Orange Rewind. Brent Hubbs and Mike Keith from the Vol Radio Network. Thanking our friends at Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee, 9 convenient locations in Knoxville and surrounding areas. Available inside Food City Center. Calhoun's, a proud sponsor of the Vols. Why do I not ever get Calhoun's when we play at Food City Center?
My guess is you don't go up and get you some Calhoun's
I need
because
to
they'll be more than happy to take care
Well,
of you.
I'm sure they would.
They'd be more than happy.
I
to
love
take care.
Calhoun's.
How do you not? How do you not love Calhoun's? It's fantastic.
I love Calhoun's.
You know what I like it. You know what I really like at Calhoun's that some people order it, but everybody's and I like the barbecue and everything. It's great.
It is great.
The pork chop at Calhoun's is
Pork chop
outstanding.
is my favorite.
It is outstanding.
I'm with you on that. The white chicken chili,
the pork chop
stronger than a new rope.
Yep. I love that pork chop with mashed potatoes there. They're garlic mashed potatoes. I'm telling you, it's a good meal.
You know what they have at various locations on Monday? A burger for like $7.50.
Yeah, they got a good burger there too.
But can you believe
Now, I mean,
for that price
yeah.
on Mondays?
That's a good deal.
As they say, check local listings.
Check your local
for
listings.
availability. They have a great hamburger.
They do have a great hamburger.
All right, so and we have a great text line. Little segue, kind of a radio guy move. 865-657-1278.
Merging on.
Merging on, yes.
Here's our blinker. We're coming over, ladies and gentlemen.
Lee from Atlanta says, Mike and Brent, is Lady Vols basketball in better shape now for future success than under Coach Harper? Foolish question in the summer. Now I think it's fair to ask and discuss.
I think a lot of that depends on what your roster retention looks like. She has a young basketball team in a lot of ways. I thought what the freshman Jada Civil did today in a bigger role, a bigger opportunity.
21 and 10.
Yeah, but she didn't. only a couple times did it really feel forced. I thought she played within the game a little bit better than she had, because I think she knew without Janiah Barker there, she was going to get more opportunities today. And so I think with the young players, what you are paying your coaching staff to do is develop those young players. There's clearly talent there. This program, though, is going to have to go do well in the portal because they're going to lose players just based on graduation. There will be some people leave because that's what you do in the portal when the portal window opens. So I think what the roster retention and what the roster build looks like in April and May will better answer that question.
She has said, Kim Caldwell, that she is learning that the old standard, year 2 is often harder than year 1, is true. And you see that. You see that because you come in, you get something started, it's new, and then everybody sort of settles into a level of expectation while you're feeling like you have to take it up a notch. And if you're Kim Caldwell, you're still developing your program. For a lot of people who come in, they think the standard is set, and it's not. And sometimes those things don't merge, to use another driving, merge as properly as you want it to. And that's part of the building process that she puts together. But I think her ability to acquire elite-type talent is good. The class she's got coming in is really good. And so you're saying that, to me, that's where it has to start, because in watching from afar, I didn't think the Lady Vols had good enough players. When I watched them on TV.
You're talking about previously?
Yes.
Okay.
Before I got back to Knoxville.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
I'm like, they don't have enough people to make it happen. And I think that's where it starts.
Mm-hmm.
The other stuff has to come, and that's where it has to be developed. But give me somebody who's getting that kind of talent, and I will take my chance. Now, you and I come from the same cloth in that we're recruiting people.
Jimmy's and Joe's.
Yeah, and we don't – I can't speak for you totally, but I'll say this. I like 5 stars. Everybody in the world who doesn't like 5 stars, well, okay, you go ahead and take your team with 2 and 3 stars and 18 walk-ons or whatever. Good luck to you there, buddy, because I'll take a team full of 5 stars and figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, talent's
in anything.
You can't build what you want to build and do what you want to do without talent.
Well, this ain't Hoosiers.
Right. You can't. She said something post Texas A&M. She said the following 2 things, Mike. Quote, I think big picture, there's a ton we are learning right now. I think when you talk about a career and how to build a program and all of those things, you're learning a lot. You write them down and you continue to figure out how you want to build this and what you need to learn from going forward. When asked specifically, what are you writing down? What are you learning right now? I think all of those things are big picture. Those are philosophy and how to build, and I'll share those when the season is done. Right now, I'm very focused on continuing to try to win with this group. Now, you can read however you want to read into that. What I read into that is year 2's hard, what you're saying, and she's trying to win every game she can win right now, but she's also looking big picture about how she has to adjust, how they have to tweak, adapt, and grow to try to develop this program and get it to where you want it to go. Let's stop talking about going back to where it was in 1996, okay? Because the game's different. Well, everything's different about it now.
And, Brent, it hasn't been that in a long time.
Right. But to me, that is – you're talking about what are your standards in your program?
Right.
What are your non-negotiables? That is style of play, adaptability to style of play, being more, having a bigger playbook, if you will, different ways you can win, different ways you can do. Coaches always have to evolve and tweak things as they go into different conferences, as they go into different levels. Rick Barnes will tell you as the game has evolved. He ain't coaching like he did at George Mason.
No.
The game that he played at Clemson is not the style of basketball you play now. The game he played at Texas in the Big 12 is different than the brand of basketball they're playing in the SEC.
That's right.
And so for her, she's at Glenville State, then she's a year at Marshall, and then she dumps into the big deep waters. And there's an adjustment period there.
Well, you said something that was spot on, and I think you even asked her about it in a press conference, and she confirmed it. She's never been through anything like this. Not just coaching the Lady Vols. I mean, the premier name in the sport. The New York Yankees, the Boston Celtics, the Los Angeles Lakers,
the Dodgers.
Yeah, Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, they're the Lady Vols. You know?
It's an iconic brand with iconic expectations.
Well, I mean, absolutely. So that's a big deal, but she's also never lost. At anything. She didn't lose as a player. She didn't lose as a coach. And it doesn't make her less than. It just means she's 37. She's really bright. And I think the great thing that I'm hearing from her is that she is writing things down. Because she's not in denial. She knows 16 and 10 ain't good enough. She gets that.
But she's also not going, we're going to do my system the highway, and that's the only way.
That's it.
And I think, listen, it's not been talked about like it should have been, in my opinion. Maybe it will get. Maybe he'll open up and they'll talk about it at some point. And I learned this from Jason Swain. Nobody really understands how much adjustment Josh Heupel made to his offense coming out of the 24 season going into the 25 season. What Josh Heupel did is he said, wait a minute, Jim Knowles played me in a very different way. I didn't have enough answers for what they were trying to do. We've got to tweak things because of how people are playing us now. She's going to have to do the same thing because she's very rooted in her system. And she's not going to stop pressing.
Right.
She shouldn't. But she has to make some adaptations and adjustments because at Glenville State, when you're playing an opponent, their power forward, probably wouldn't bring in the ball up the court.
No.
They are in this league.
Sure.
And so there are things you have to adjust and adapt to, and I believe she will.
But the point is well made, too, in the fact that when Bruce Pearl got here from Milwaukee, what did they do? They shot as fast as they could, and they pressed. By year 3, we're playing the same way.
Now, league's different, and
his level of talent got different, too. His style, what he looked at. Bruce adapted. He did the same thing when he went to Auburn. And Bobby Knight stuck with the man-to-man until they told him he was done. Or he decided he was done, whatever. That's great. But he also wasn't winning the same way at the end.
Correct. Same for Jim Boeheim.
Yes.
Who was in the 2-3.
In the 2-3 zone.
And all of a sudden it's like, maybe you got to play it a little different, right? I mean, you have to be willing to adjust and adapt and have more answers to questions. And I think that's the growth and evolution of coaching, and I think that's the growth and evolution of building your program. Your standards are there, and then you adjust to things that you're going to do on the court and how you do it. And then you got to look at what I need. What kind of player do I need? What's my roster retention? Who do I want to have back? Who do I got to go get? I got to go get the right player. Culture fits more than maybe talent fits.
Right.
All of those things she is dealing with for the very first time.
And Josh Elander is too.
Yeah, the CEO part of it, fans don't get. And it's not. I'm not knocking fans. They don't understand the CEO side of what a coach does. They say, did the play work? They say, did they hit a home run? Did they make a three-point shot? Did they get steals in their press or whatever they're doing? They don't understand all the other things that are involved in coaching. And young head coaches don't understand it till you walk through it.
Till you walk through it. Because they would say, a lot of them who get frustrated, especially with the media the first time, and not saying this is happening here, but just saying this is part of it. Having dealt with some young head coaches, it's not fair. Fan base judges now.
Sure.
because the fan base lives now. Because the fan base says, if I don't do my job tomorrow, I lose my job.
Mm-hmm.
And they're right. And so the consideration of I have to use this lineup now, or I have to do this now for later, does not equate to the fan base necessarily. And totally get it. But when you deal with young coaches, the thing they learn is they've got to walk that line. Nothing is black and white. It's what it's all about, Brent, is it's about winning enough now to get your program in the right place. Cignetti at Indiana, not a young coach.
Mm-mm.
Went there with a ton of, what is he, 62?
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Heupel's not even 50 yet. You know, Elander and Caldwell are both in their mid to late 30s. You know?
Well, and here's the thing, too. And I don't want to take anything away from Curt Cignetti or Indiana. He didn't leave James Madison and go to Alabama or Tennessee or Ohio State. He went to Indiana.
Right.
Where they all went. And that's what he gave the famous Google me. Because the Indiana people didn't care who they hired at that point. It wasn't a big deal. Now, it is now.
Oh, yeah.
But it wasn't at the time. Like, oh, we hired another football coach. He's an older guy from a smaller school. Who is this guy? And he says, Google me, I win. And he kind of laid a gauntlet down there. But going, and he deserves all the credit for making Indiana what they are, but he did not go to a historically brand. He didn't go to the Yankees of college football.
Right.
And so his adjustment was a little bit different, even though he was more experienced and he was older. You know what I'm saying? He could handle that differently because of where he went, as opposed to going somewhere that had unbelievable expectations, like what Josh Elander's got in Tennessee baseball, because they just won one. The brand that is the Lady Vols, okay, and quite frankly, the history that is Tennessee football is.
Well, the other thing Cignetti could do is if he wanted to change everything, he could. Because who was going to notice?
Right.
Who was going to stop him? I mean, no offense, Indiana. What's your big football tradition?
Lee Corso?
The old oaken jug?
Right.
I mean, I guess something like that. I mean, so if he wanted to go in and tear out every wall and take out everything and hire all of his own people, do you think DeBoer at Alabama could do that? No.
And don't you think that's probably why Cignetti took a job like that? Because he could do it his own way.
And he saw, and listen, give him all the credit.
Oh, tons. I don't want to take anything away from him at all.
Ball coach, right? Ball coach.
Good ball coach.
Big time ball coach. B, he also had a bit of a vision for how it was going to go. And oh, by the way, he brought a lot of players with him from James Madison, which until 5 years ago you couldn't do.
CEO.
CEO.
Has CEO skills. The one thing that I took away, you're talking about walking that line, to kind of wrap up the Caldwell discussion here. I thought this quote gave a pretty good sense of where headspace is. I'm going to say it. I'll share that philosophy when the season is done. Right now I'm focused on trying to win with this group. Trying to walk that line to win now with the understanding things have to be different moving forward.
Well, part of the difficulty is the players all said before the season, the Final Four is the floor.
Oh yeah, they laid out the expectation.
And they were really excited about that, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Golly, if you can't be enthusiastic and positive when you're young, you ain't gonna pick it up when you're in your 50s.
But it sets a narrative.
But it sets a narrative. It sets a standard. And it also leaves you hanging. I mean, you have to understand the ramification that every action in your life has a consequence. And the consequence is you're 16-10 right now when you were saying that 3 months ago. I don't blame them for doing that. But I also understand the reality, as you do, as everybody listening and watching does, that that's what happens. And, oh, by the way, for the Lady Vols, every year the Final Four is the floor in the mindset of the fan base, because that's what every one of them was raised with.
Absolutely.
I mean, when Pat didn't go to the Final Four, she was crushed.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to be around her.
No. No. I mean, and we knew when we were around her, we knew this is greatness we're watching right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it must have been like to be around General Nealon. This is what this is like. I mean, we knew what we were seeing.
Exactly.
And you knew from the day that she stepped down, it was going to be hard to ever match that because A, game's a lot more competitive. B, largely because so many more teams take it seriously than did in the earliest days. Competition is tougher. But also, and obviously girls basketball from high school on up has gotten so much better. There are more players to recruit. You can't corner the market like Tennessee and Stanford did in Texas with Jody Conrad. I mean, you can't do that. It changed. Would she be going to Final Fours today? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Would she be furious if she wasn't in the Final Four? You bet she would. Would you want to deal with her if that happened? No. No, you wouldn't. Because she was amazing. She's the most amazing person I've ever met in my life. And to really know, you know, as a person to know, she was a remarkable human being.
Mm-hmm.
And her fingerprints on the program put the level of expectation at a different status. I've often wondered what she would say to Kim Caldwell right now. And I think I can't speak for it. There are people who knew who are better. But when I heard Kim say the thing about writing it down, about continuing to learn, I think she would have liked that.
Mm-hmm.
I think she would have liked the respect for the game, the respect for the program, knowing it's not where it is, but also understanding you don't know everything. And because you know you don't know everything, you're far ahead of the game, Kim. You are doing the right stuff to get it back where it needs to be. But it's going to be a challenge.
Mm-hmm. And to get to where they are, to get not to the Final Four, but to get to that point, if someone, I think, and I don't want to speak obviously for Pat Summitt, I think one of the things, though, that would be conveyed is, what are you going to hang your hat on? What do you hang your hat on the floor?
Right.
What is your brand that you're going to hang it? Because Pat rebounded and played defense.
But remember this, too. She also had humps she couldn't get over for years.
She also adapted her game.
Adapted.
Yes, that's the point.
She adapted how she recruited. She adapted how she played. She adapted her staff. She adapted training methods. I mean, if you ever wanted to be around a person, and I'm not saying this to you because I know you know, but I'm
sure
sharing the knowledge of being old and having had the good fortune to be around her. She was constantly learning.
Mm-hmm. She
was so smart. She was so curious. She was just such an interesting human being. Outside of being a great basketball coach, she was a fascinating human being.
Because she craved knowledge. And she wasn't afraid to change. Her non-negotiables didn't change.
That's right.
But do we need to spread the floor? Do we need to play up tempo? Wait a minute. I've spent my whole career dribbling to the elbow and throwing it to the post,
right,
and we're going to shoot a layup, and then we're going to get an offensive rebound if they miss it. Wait a minute. Let's go recruit this Holtzclaw player.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go get these catchings.
First, she went and got Bridget Gordon.
And we're going to open the floor up, and we're going to spread. We may not play a, quote, above the rim, but we're going to play a different brand of basketball than what people are used to seeing in the women's game. We're going to be the greatest show on court in terms of offensive style of play. But the non-negotiables to those girls and those women were you're going to play defense.
That's right.
And you're going to rebound or you're not going to play. And they bought into that, and then she let the offensive creativity evolve.
Interesting. We need a break. We need more questions. Whew, I need a nap. 865-657-1278. The Vol Network text line is 865-657-1278. We've got more of Big Orange Rewind presented by Calhoun's.
Big Orange Rewind on the Vol Network.
Sponsored by Food City, the official supermarket and tailgating headquarters of the Vols. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee. Complete coverage for every phase of life. Alumni Hall, the ultimate volunteer shopping experience. By Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee, the official insurance of the Vols. Tennessee Insurance for a Tennessee Life. Co-op, proudly supplying your rural lifestyle in Big Orange Country. And by UT Medical Center, the official healthcare provider of the Vols and all of Vol Nation.
Vol fans, ready to score big on your next home? Clayton Homes, Oakwood Homes, and Love Homes are proud sponsors of Tennessee Athletics and proud to help you find your dream home. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for your forever home, their teams across Tennessee have your back. With 29 locations statewide and Energy Smart Homes designed for year-round savings and a lifetime of comfort, it's never been easier to make the move. Stop by today and see why so many families and Vol fans trust Clayton, Oakwood, and Love Homes to turn home ownership into a win.
UT fans know it takes teamwork to win. And when you choose Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, you get a team who served Tennesseans for 80 years. From babies to seniors, big needs to small, we offer health coverage that fits your life and your budget. All from a company right here in your community. Now that's what we call a big win. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee.
A farm, a family, and a tradition of premium fresh sausage that's lasted almost a century, using only the freshest ingredients and finest cuts of meat for flavor that is locked in instantly. Each bite of Swaggerty's Farm sausage transports you back to a warm, cozy southern kitchen, leaving you satisfied and ready to take on the day. Swaggerty's Farm, quite possibly the best tasting sausage in America. Now available at your local retailers.
Tennessee pride runs deep from Neyland Stadium to the family farm. At Farm Credit Mid-America, we stand behind the Tennessee farmers who feed and fuel our nation, just like we cheer for the Vols on game day. Because we understand that whether you farm every day, only on the weekends, or simply enjoy time on property outside of town, we have loans to fit your needs. Because farming matters, and so does every play, every harvest, every heartbeat of Tennessee. Learn how Farm Credit Mid-America serves the great state of Tennessee at fcma.com. Loan subject to credit approval. Additional terms and conditions may apply. Farm Credit Mid-America is an equal opportunity lender.
A look back and what's next. Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's.
This baseball season, every time the Vols clinch a weekend series, you win a $9.99 haircut from Great Clips. Visit greatclips.com/UTBaseball to redeem the offer, valid only at participating Knoxville, Chattanooga, Tri-Cities, and Middle Tennessee salons. Offer available for a limited time at participating locations. Great Clips, it's going to be great. All right, Lou in Knoxville has the next text question.
Okay.
And I've had a second to
digest,
ruminate over this question.
Okay.
And so I know where we're going to go.
All right.
Mike, what is your favorite Peyton Manning story? All right, so the one I want to tell.
I've got to think in my head on which ones I'm allowed to tell.
No. The one I want to tell revolves around Peyton Manning, but doesn't actually involve him.
No, this could be entertaining.
So it's May 1997. We're both working at WIVK Radio, AM and FM Knoxville. We're doing sports talk. We're on from 3 to 7 every afternoon. And this is where you have to help me. Somebody brings us a printout, and it's on one of those green pieces of computer paper that they used to have when they printed out
the old
things.
dot matrix printer.
Dot matrix printer, but it's that green paper with the lines.
Okay.
And it's from, I think it was from the sheriff's department. And it says that Peyton Manning has been arrested overnight for possession of gambling machines. Do you remember this?
Maybe vaguely.
Okay. But remember, our news department had a hold of it.
Right.
And so we know he's not even in town.
Right.
It's during a break. And the whole thing is like, and there are like 10 people listed. It was like something that they would pull every morning from the police or from the sheriff's department, somebody on the news side would. And they're giving us the business like, oh, your boy's gotten in trouble. I'm like, what? I mean, this makes no sense.
Right.
Why would he, that's not, I mean, he was by no means perfect, but it's like that he would not, that doesn't make any sense. And he's not even here.
Right.
He's home. Because everybody went home. People didn't stay.
Didn't stay for many terms.
No. I mean, because he'd already graduated anyway.
Right.
And so I'll never forget, we went through the entire day trying to find out if this were true. And other media had it too, all over town. It's a crazy story.
That is a crazy story. I'd forgotten that one.
Well, and the news director at the radio station said at the time, he goes, we're going on the air with it at 3:00. You guys can hold it because you're his buddy, which, I mean,
right. That was us.
Yeah, we were a real big pal.
Yeah.
We hung out,
Mm-hmm. We had a lot of
listen, had a nice relationship with him.
Sure.
He was cordial to us. We were cordial to him, but we weren't, like going out to dinner or playing golf or anything. He had his own life. I mean, he had a wonderful life. And I'll just never forget that we're like, there's something that doesn't make sense. It was like the Kevin Stallings story. When Kevin Stallings came here, everybody reported he was going to be the basketball coach. And we were told, don't do it yet, don't say it yet. And sure enough, he went back to Illinois State and did not take the job, which was an upset.
Correct.
Why would the Illinois State guy not take the Tennessee job? And that's another story for another time. But the point was, I'll never forget, at like 2:53, I noticed two things on the printout that I'd been looking at for hours, but I'd noticed it. That his birth date wasn't right, and I think you knew where he lived, and the address wasn't right.
Right.
You knew the apartment complex.
I did.
You're like, this is South Knoxville. This is not West Knoxville.
Right.
This is not right. So we convinced our news side not to run it. And it turns out that somebody at the office for the law enforcement division, whichever one it was, had a new computer, and they were just logging things in, and it accidentally went through and got printed. They were just trying out a new program.
That's the name they thought to take.
Yeah, that's the name they thought to put in there. You remember this?
Yeah, vaguely. I'd still.
Did you try to block it out?
Well, there's a couple of things with Peyton, and listen, I love Peyton. When I see Peyton, he's always cordial. He's always nice. He asks how I'm doing, and we talk about how his kids are doing, and life's great. But I never could get anything from him regarding any story, and I know nobody else. I know nobody did. I understand that, but as a young guy, you're just. The level of stalking that I did of that guy on two separate occasions was borderline troubling, I think. So,
well, but the whole thing was there was nowhere we could go to get a yay or nay.
Right.
And I'll just never forget. And so I walked in the newsroom and I said, this is wrong and this is wrong. I said, if you go with this, everybody here is going to be in a lot of trouble. And somebody did go with it in the market. I forget who it was, but somebody did go with it.
Spent all day getting ready for that.
And then it, of course, comes out they have to issue an apology because it was just somebody in the office who was, and this person wasn't doing anything wrong. They accidentally transmitted something that they thought they were just practicing on. Peyton did nothing wrong, but that's how big he was.
Oh, yeah.
Is something that wasn't even true. And this was 2 months after he had done I've thought about it,
right?
The whole speech about coming back. 2 months.
Yeah. 2 months after I had sat out in the parking lot waiting for him to get out of class and hopped out and surprised him as he was getting in his car to try to get him to tell me what he was going to do, which he was not very pleased with that.
I understand.
He was not very
You know who was not pleased about this story? Archie Manning.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Archie Manning was furious.
And rightfully so.
And rightfully so. But that was a whole day of our lives.
Yeah.
And but that's what, I mean, he totally stopped traffic for the whole media in Knoxville, Tennessee, and probably in Nashville, too. David Clymer probably had it at the Tennessean as well.
No.
And probably some of the outstanding media in Tri-Cities and Chattanooga knew, too. And we're doing the same thing.
Yep.
Because, I mean, if that had been true.
Oh, gee.
And it wasn't anything true.
No.
He did none of it. It was just, and yet it was a story that took on a life of its own.
Well, because it was Peyton Manning.
Right. And you couldn't ignore anything he did.
You couldn't ignore, yeah, I mean, you had to go find out to be sure, you know. And, I mean, this is a printout that looks like it's a legitimate document, and, oh, yeah, those were the days, buddy. Those were the days, right?
Wow. Wes and Dandridge already wants to know your stalker stories. He's tired of mine.
So, twice. One, before he made the I've made up my mind, I'm never going to look back, I'm returning to the University of Tennessee speech.
Yeah.
The day before, he was in decision-making mode, but in classic Peyton Manning fashion, was still going to class.
Yes.
And so I knew the car that he drove, and I knew what parking lot he parked in on campus. And so you were on the air, and we couldn't get anything. Nothing. So what do? Well, I'm just going to go drive and find him, like he's going to tell me something. So
It was worth a shot.
I pull on the other side of his car to where he can't see my truck. And I'm sitting there.
At least you didn't block him in.
No.
Yeah, that would have been too much.
I'm sitting there and I'm waiting. I knew what direction he would be coming from because I knew what class he was coming out of. Oh, gosh. And so.
Because you were still a student at this point, right?
I just finished.
Okay.
And so I waited on him at like 5 o'clock. He got out of class at like 5:15 or something. And he comes around to get into it was an Oldsmobile Bravada
It was an
SUV.
yeah.
And he comes around to get in it, and I pop out of my 1987 Mazda B2000 pickup truck. And he looked at me like, there's two cars in the parking lot, his and mine.
Yeah.
And he looked at me like, you're joking right now, right? And I just looked at him and said, I'm just looking for anything. And he just smiled and was like, not today, Hoss. And
He had to admire your...
And he just got in the car and he backed out and he drove. And I went back to the station and I said, Mike, I ran into him. You're like, and? I'm like, I got nothing.
You know, the movie that hasn't been made, honestly, is the movie about his 4 years at Tennessee.
Oh, it's a 30 for 30.
But,
and then
it's a 70 for 70, 120 for 120. Because, like, the story about the fake arrest thing.
Right.
Which is nothing. I mean, when we got Lou's question on the text line, I thought, I'll just tell this one.
Right.
Because most people, even you, didn't remember it.
I
There were so many.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole Brandon Stewart thing.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that so many people thought Brandon Stewart should be the quarterback.
Yeah. And that Peyton was only playing because of his last game.
Yeah, they're playing him because of who his dad is.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't want the story that the offensive line said, you've got to play Peyton Manning because he actually knows the plays.
Right.
I mean, that's the movie.
Yeah. Well, so fast forward my last quick one here on my stalker
Yes.
story. He's coming off the neck stuff.
Yeah.
He's at Duke throwing with David Cutcliffe. Get a phone call. He's going to throw for the Tennessee Titans in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Wonder who you got a call from.
And so I tried to find out, okay, what's going to happen? Where is he? Was he going to be in Knoxville or Chattanooga? I track a private plane that's leaving Durham and going to Chattanooga because he's got a house in Chattanooga. And then it's like, okay, he's going to drive to Knoxville
And at this point,
throw.
you have nothing to do with this story. It has nothing to do with you. And yet, You're still so torn up about 1997.
Yeah, I'm going to get him.
It's nearly 20 years later.
But I'm going to get him.
You run VolQuest.com. You make a nice living. You have 2 children. You've been married for over 20 years. Your life is good.
Okay. So,
but there is so much.
So I know he's coming up.
Oh,
he's going to drive up.
You did this.
He's going to drive up. Stokely Athletic Center is still a building at that point. It's not the parking garage.
Right.
So I go into the stairwell that's laced with cigarette smoke from 100 years of everybody going into that concourse and smoking during basketball games. And I sit.
And you called me.
And I wait. And I wait. Because he's going to throw on the practice field or in the complex. It was drizzling. I wait. I'm just going to get a picture of him. I can confirm that he's here. I've got a story. All right? He hears that people are looking for him on campus.
Yes.
And he detours, and he throws in the rain at Webb.
Webb.
To put the carrot on the top, or the cherry on the top of the story, and we'll leave it at this. I've spent all morning, I can't get him yet again. My son wants a new bicycle. I take him to Fountain City to a bicycle shop to get him his first 10-speed bicycle. We get done. We want to have some lunch. We go down Fountain City, and we have lunch at like Firehouse Subs or Salsaritas or whatever, across the street from Litton's.
Litton's, where you get a burger.
Where Peyton is in the back room with Mike Munchak talking football.
And Rustin Webster.
And I was 100 yards from him there, and I was waiting for him on campus, and I still never got him. Ever.
We need a break.
But I'm not scarred.
We need a break so Brent can get some therapy.
My therapist will be calling me soon. Never got him. Never. Never got him.
The old.
Never will.
The old gambling machine.
Never. Just never got him.
It was wild covering him, though, because you had to cover everything.
He's a rock star.
The people in this town wanted to know everything. The people in the state.
Well, and here's the other thing, too. He didn't hide in town.
No.
So if you heard something, you had to check it because he wasn't a guy who was in the complex and went straight to his apartment and hid. Like, he was out and about, knew people, and did things in town.
He did stuff like, okay, you'll remember this. This was just after the announcement. You walk in to the studio where I'm doing the talk show, and you say, Peyton Manning's on line 2. Yeah. And I'm like, no, he's not. It's like, no, he's on line 2. Yeah. So we go back on, and I'm like, this is going to be a crank. Push the thing. It's Peyton Manning. Yeah. He's called in to say, who ran the fastest during the combine workout today at Tennessee? Well, I guess 2 things. I'm wrong. He's like, nope, you're wrong again. Just like you were about my decision. You're wrong. Andy McCullough, he ran the fastest.
I'm trying to get your therapist on the
here, too. I've been working on this for years. So then, I mean, it's a great thing for our show.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, we're rolling tape. Promo City, baby.
Okay. But then you're not by quote-unquote SEC rule, it was not an SEC rule. You were not supposed to have players on your show live. So then I got people from over here calling to ream me out.
Like we called him. Hey, we want to be on.
He worked me over on the air and just had a delightful time doing it. When I see him on Saturday Night Live throwing at the kids, I'm like, he threw at me like that. I mean, that's how it felt. He still would.
Yes.
I mean,
we've all been there.
Oh, we've all been there. He loves that. So he's called. He's ragged me on the air. But, of course, I'm thrilled. It's good for the show. Then I'm getting a call from officials saying, you violated the – I'm like, he called me. When I went to him on line 2, I thought there's no chance. Right. This is the movie.
Oh, no question.
The whole thing. Because, I mean, it was crazy.
It was
town.
A 4-year show.
Yes. Peyton's eating here. Peyton's playing golf here. Peyton's gone to pick up a suit here. Peyton filled up at gas next to me over at Pilot. I mean,
you get a call. Hey, Peyton's at the driving range.
Right.
Well, good for Peyton.
I mean, what are we going to do?
What am I supposed to do about it?
But then we had to think about it. It's like, well, maybe we should go over there and can you take a microphone and, whatever. We didn't have cameras or,
And he was at the driving range.
He was at the driving
good
range.
For him.
He had a wonderful time.
He did. He enjoyed his college experience.
Those of us around him, not always so much.
Made it entertaining.
We got to get a break. We'll stop with the stories, we promise. More coming up. Big Orange Rewind. That's a rewind back 30 years. Presented by a place you like to go eat, Calhoun's.
Hey, this is Rick Barnes. The great John Wooden said, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. That's why I put such an emphasis on preparation. I get to the gym early, before everyone else, so when they walk through the doors, I'm ready. Food City does the same thing. Long before the doors open, they're stocking produce, cutting certified Angus beef, and prepping ready-made meals. So when you walk into a Food City or the Food City Center, we're going to be prepared.
Tennessee fans, the Vol Shop has everything you need to support the Big Orange. With a 15,000 square foot store in the Student Union and other locations on Cumberland Avenue, in the University Commons, and inside Neyland Stadium, the Vol Shop is stocked full of official gear and exclusive apparel. The Vol Shop is your go-to retailer for Tennessee merchandise. If you can't make it to campus, shop online at utvolshop.com and be sure to follow them on social media. The Vol Shop, the official campus store of the University of Tennessee.
Tennessee fans, your game day isn't complete without Calhoun's. Whether you're inside Neyland Stadium for the game or tailgating on campus or at home, Calhoun's has you covered with shareable small bites, family feed packs, and party platters. Imagine your tailgate piled high with hickory smoked ribs, tender pulled pork, and that famous barbecue chicken. The best of Tennessee on one plate. Call ahead or order online and make your game day legendary. Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee.
The court is where legends are made. They embrace the insanity. They rise when the pressure is high. They leave their mark when it matters most. But legends aren't just found on the hardwood. They're in the stands, in our communities, in the ones who step up when life throws a full court press. At Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee, they're here for every game-changing moment, helping Tennesseans stay ready for whatever comes next. Tennessee Insurance or Tennessee Life. Get a free quote at FBITN.com.
The Big Orange Rewind continues, presented by Calhoun's.
If you love the Tennessee Vols, look for the new Vols Collector Cup at participating Hardee's locations. Rep the Big Orange, sip your favorite drinks, and receive 99-cent refills for the year. Class up your combo with the Vols Collector Cup today, only at Hardee's, proud sponsor of the Vols. All right, so we've got more questions. A lot of good text line questions. We took up too much time with that.
Start saying we missed 3 or 4 of them because I had to.
With that dopey story
I
I
had to
started
go.
with.
I had to go through my scarred stories. But.
James in Cleveland. Have we already gotten one from him? Well, anyway. On Wednesday night in the first half, there weren't a lot of fouls called. That was the Oklahoma game. But in the second half, why come the officials call more fouls in the second half?
I don't know.
He also says, I think Pat Adams needs to have his eyes checked. Come on, James.
I don't know why they changed. I don't know why they went to the half and went, well, we've not blown our whistle enough. My frustration, and look, the game's really fast. Rick Barnes says this all the time. It's really hard to officiate, and all those things are correct. I guess my greatest sense of frustration with anything in officiating is an assumption whistle. You assume you're seeing this or you're getting ready to see this, and you blow the whistle. Or you're out of position to blow the whistle. You had the foul in Wednesday night where the kid slipped. He fell down. It wasn't a foul.
I don't remember that.
It wasn't a foul. You know what I'm saying? And that's where
trying
my
to picture that.
that's where you get frustrated. Is sometimes with the assumption. The assumption is that they're going to be out of bounds, or I'm not in a position to blow, or I think I saw something. And
or the whistle 5 seconds after a play occurs.
You're never going to get perfect. And I don't want to rip it. It's an impossible job. And it's what we were talking about earlier. Whatever you dictate the first 4 minutes of the game on how you're going to call it.
Yeah.
Don't get to the half and go, well, we only called 4. We need to call 12. You know what I mean? Like you don't have a quota you have to hit here. So you don't have to dramatically change how you call a game from one half to the other half. And that seems to happen on some occasions. And it certainly happened Wednesday night.
Well, and it did not happen because the game had gotten out of control. Sometimes there will be a direct tightening of things based on the fact that player X and player Y are into it, or players on both teams are getting a little too chippy, that things can go really wrong. And I get that.
Get control of it.
Get control of the game. I totally get that point. But that wasn't the case. They just come out for the second half.
Yeah.
I mean, you called 9 fouls the first half. It was beautiful. I mean, I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't overly physical.
No.
It wasn't. I mean, it was just playing basketball. They were just playing basketball. So just be consistent throughout the 40 minutes, unless there's some safety reason to alter it. That would be my point.
Right. I mean, and if you're going to call the hand check, then call it through the entire game.
Yeah, don't call it for a stretch, or don't call it the last 4 minutes.
Last minute?
Or call it the first, opening minute. You look up and it's like one team has 4 fouls in the first 2 minutes of the second half. It's like,
there was a point in time in the game Saturday at Vanderbilt, 6 minutes in the first half, where Tennessee was called for 5 straight fouls and Vanderbilt was not called for one. Now, how can that be?
I mean, today it was 7-0 in the first quarter for the Lady Vol game.
How? I mean, you sort of answer. John Ward was always the best with that, though, because he would do the things. This is why I loved him so much. There were many reasons, but one of my favorite, and I'm sure there are people on your board on VolQuest who talk about this too, but he was such a master of basketball because he would do the thing where he'd go, that's not what that is. And then he would say, just wait, makeup call coming. And sure enough, I mean, there would be a whistle. Yep, that's it. Makeup call
coming.
Here it comes. Well, we've got Clockerty and Galvan.
Yeah. And he had no problem mentioning the name.
Oh no.
If he didn't like the guy,
Rutledge, Clockerty, Galvan.
Yeah. And if he got really mad, he called them first and last name.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm aware of that trend.
I mean, we would go, when I was sitting beside him those couple of years, which was some of the greatest memories. I'm sitting beside him when he was up in the booth up top at the arena. And it was just me and Tim Berry and John Ward. Sometimes maybe Glenn. Maybe that might have been 4 people in there. But that booth is huge.
Yeah.
And so it's me and Ward on the end, and everybody else is kind of far away. We go to commercial break. The intern goes, he has no clue what he's seeing. Has no clue what he saw. And he would just talk about the officials during it, and then he would come put it back on his headset and go to work. But he was he's completely lost.
But the officials of that generation were aware that the announcers got after.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so there's a story about an official, and I think it's one of the names we've mentioned, but I can't remember for sure. So Ralph Hacker and Kaywood Ledford are doing the Kentucky games, and Kaywood Ledford was unbelievable. He and John were tight, really a lot of respect for one another. But, I mean, Kaywood, if you heard Kaywood call a basketball game, even if you weren't a Kentucky fan, you're like, that guy's a good announcer. Ralph was the perfect sidekick to him. Ralph was a really nice guy, talented guy too, and they had a nice broadcast. Well, Ralph was the money guy. Ralph was in sales and whatever. And so they're getting ready to tip off the game. And Ralph reaches over to the official who's standing right there. He goes, hey, so-and-so, will you please wait an extra 20 seconds because we've got to come back from commercial. And there was no TV at that time, so you weren't on TV schedule. So the official turns back around and says something to the effect of, if you'll tell your little friend there to stay off my rear end during this broadcast. He's pointing at Kaywood Ledford. He said, if you'll tell my little friend to stay off my rear end, then I will give you the 20 seconds. Kaywood took his headset off, looked at them both, and said, throw the ball up.
What a great story. We'll have none of that tonight, sir.
Could that have been our guy? You bet it could.
Absolutely.
And our guy would have done the same thing.
100%.
He was, well, the last time I had ever been in Memorial Gymnasium before Saturday, 35 years for the SEC basketball tournament. And I nearly got my butt kicked because of John, because there was a guy trying to pull wires in front of him while he was reading his opening monologue, which was just beautiful.
Right.
Beautifully written. He typed it on his typewriter or whatever. And this guy was distracting him. So he threw his hand up at this guy twice. And this guy was an engineer for another school's broadcast. He don't know who John Ward is. He don't care. So he's going to move his stuff because he wants to go home. His team's lost. It's over. Guy's doing a job.
Sure.
Well, Ward is not happy. Not happy. And so he throws his hand up. Guy starts again. Throws his hand up again when the guy starts. And the third time, the guy just keeps going. I take the guy and move him backward because I'm there with John. I'm senior in college, married guy, and John let me do the Big Orange scoreboard from the booth with him at the SEC tournament. And that's the one where they went from 6-21 to the finals of the tournament.
Right.
Allen Houston.
Yeah. Lane Wiseman, they all got hot.
It's great.
Yeah.
So I take the guy backwards. Well, the guy's considerably bigger than me. First of all, he's really unamused. First of all, he's shocked, but then he's really unamused because this little goofy guy has put his hands on him. But I'm like, look, I don't want you to hit me. It would be better if you don't hit me. But
I need you to move out
but
of the way.
I need you to just hold on till the break, till he finishes reading his thing. Said because he's very particular about his opening bit. Whatever you do, you don't want to step in front of him. And I said, and trust me, you don't want to make him mad. That would be a bad thing. The guy who was running the press box comes over, and we explain the situation. He goes, Tom, or whatever. He's right. John Ward's a big deal. He's real well respected. Just be patient. And this guy is saying some of the words that were directed at Jalen Carey at the game. He is not amused. I still don't know if I'm going to leave with my jaw intact, right? So it all blows over, and John, I go back to John. And the guy comes through, and it's like, okay, you can move your wire now. And John gives him this, well, feel free to move that. Just thank you for being so patient. I'm like, thank you for being so patient? What do you mean, thank you for being so patient? Then the guy walks off, and he goes, good job. So it was all worth it.
Personal security, the bouncer.
Oh, yeah.
Was you.
I'm moving this guy back, Brett, and I'm thinking to myself, this is the dumbest move I've made in my young life. I might die at a basketball game. That's why I didn't go back for 35 years. I needed my therapist again.
But you had a good time Saturday.
It was okay.
You had a good time Saturday.
It was all right. We need to go now. Thank you for listening to Big Orange Rewind from the 90s on the Ball Network.
Big Orange Rewind, taking you inside the film study and the X's and O's. We are the Ball Network.